He left a will during the composition class, but was mocked and insulted by the bald donkey teacher. The teacher also made him do a self-criticism naked in front of the whole school. Duo Jun, who had been bullied for 3 years, completely lost his faith in life. Before he died, he only wanted to say goodbye to his family, but his brother and sister were indifferent. Duo Jun had to cry and tell his father, but he accidentally blocked the TV, which resulted in his father's scolding and criticism. On the TV was a bullying case that caused a sensation in each country that day. A high school boy cruelly dissected 7 campus bullies, but when faced with media questions, he laughed crazily. Those animals that only know how to bully others, even if they kill them 10,000 times, are not satisfied. If you are being bullied in front of the screen, if you want to live, then kill them. This sentence completely shattered Duo Jun's fragile heart. That night, he began to search for ways to kill the little ruffian. He then found a handy weapon in the toolbox and practiced the action of exploding his head. He swore to make the life of the person who bullied him not as good as death. But when he was bullied by the school bully the next day, Duo Jun was so scared that he didn't even dare to lift his head, not to mention taking out the weapon he practiced all night to resist. The school bully looked at Duo Jun's pale expression and grabbed his neck, giving him a slap. But this still doesn't seem to satisfy the twisted psychology. He brewed another mixed drink of stinky socks and mud mixed with saliva, threatening Duo Jun to drink it in front of him. Duo Jun instinctively wanted to refuse, but he was hit with several slaps. In order to survive, he had to grit his teeth and drink it, but the taste was too nauseating. He threw up everything as soon as it entered his mouth, but the school bully still didn't give up and continued to pour beer into Duo Jun's mouth. If this continues, he may really die. Duo Jun can no longer endure it, and he smashed the bottle. He just wants to quickly escape from this hell, but before he could take a few steps, he was grabbed by the school bully and beaten up. But it seems like this still doesn't relieve his anger. Duo Jun was dragged like a dog for dozens of meters. Suddenly, a truck appeared at the front corner. Duo Jun, who was beaten unconscious, suddenly opened his eyes and pushed the school bully out with both hands. The truck, which was driving at high speed, was unable to brake. Duo Jun, who was extremely scared, quickly fled the scene. This waste, who had been bullied for 3 years, directly turned the school bully, who had beaten him, into a plant man. And in the face of the huge compensation from the school bully's mother, his father did not even turn his head and drove away, even breaking off the father-son relationship and kicking him out of the house, completely turning Duo Jun into a waste abandoned by his family. But the group of bastards who bullied him still wouldn't stop, waving the flag of revenge for the school bully, and directly surrounded him with a fist and a foot. However, Duo Jun, who had lost everything, had already lost his weakness and grabbed the brick next to him and swung it wildly at the closest person until he was completely quiet. But what followed was an even more intense siege. Although the pain was 100 times more painful, it made Duo Jun's will to resist even more determined. Unfortunately, the opponent's many people quickly defeated the battle. Even so, Duo Jun's eyes remained firm. The leader of the gangsters saw that he was not willing to surrender and directly grabbed a wooden stick and inserted it into Duo Jun's eyes. But suddenly, a man carrying instant noodles appeared. The school bullies realized that he was a homeless vagrant. He threatened the man harshly to get out of here, but to their surprise, the man directly threw the instant noodles at them and jumped up with a flying kick. Then, several minions were easily solved, but Duo Jun was conquered by the man's strength and expressed his desire to learn how to fight and become as strong as him. However, after eating the instant noodles that Duo Jun bought for him, the man refused to teach him how to fight. But Duo Jun didn't give up on the idea of getting stronger. The next few days, I followed the man closely and secretly watched his methods of punishing the hoodlums. Little did I know, he had been observing everything. He was eventually moved by Duo Jun's persistence and decided to teach him how to fight and seek revenge. However, there was only one condition: to beat up the guy in front. The school bully who had beaten him up on the construction site 2 days ago was in the middle of insulting his subordinates when Duo Jun was already preparing to strike from behind. The past memories of being bullied were stirred up, and Duo Jun was furious. He landed a deadly kick, threw a smelly garbage can on the opponent's face, and rushed forward to try to KO him. But to his surprise, the opponent blocked his attack. The bully pushed Duo Jun against the wall, but in the next moment, the bully was shocked. He felt a chill in his belly, but thought that Duo Jun was just playing with him. He grabbed Duo Jun tightly, but was shocked by the hardness of his hand. Duo Jun saw this and roared in satisfaction. "If you have the ability, grip it tightly." The bully was frightened by Duo Jun's fearless spirit and started to tremble uncontrollably. Then, Duo Jun chased him down, hit him on the head, kicked him in the waist, and finally, the bully begged for mercy, apologized for his past bullying. But an apology is useless. Duo Jun gave him another left kick and said, "It's because of you guys, the hoodlums, that my high school life was filled with tears and blood. Do you know how I trembled in bed every night? I didn't have a day where I didn't want to end my life." Memories and pain flooded into the mind, but the bully took the opportunity in this brief pause. He grabbed Duo Jun and pinned him down with a move. Without hesitation, the bully raised his knife to cut Duo Jun. However, the knife only grazed his thigh and caused no harm. It turned out that the bully was caught off guard as the newspaper concealed a steel ruler. The angry bully hit Duo Jun with with a heavy fist and rode on top of him as he repeatedly punched him. But just then, the bully was drenched with urine. It was Han-ji who had come to the rescue once again. He had been secretly observing Duo Jun. The flustered bully immediately stood up and attacked Han-ji, but was quickly overturned by a high kick. Han-ji then slowly spoke to Duo Jun. "You lost. I can't teach you how to fight." Duo Jun felt ashamed of his foolishness as he remembered the scene of being bullied at a crucial moment, resulting in another loss to those guys. Duo Jun was trembling with anger and frustration, but it lit up Han-ji's eyes. "Do you really want to become strong, even if it means being beaten to the point of being disabled?" Duo Jun firmly nodded his head. "In that case, I'll give you another chance." Han-ji then took Duo Jun to a neighborhood, telling him that the real dangers were outside of school and that this was where those guys lived together. "But why did you bring me here?" Han-ji did not answer and kicked Duo Jun into a house. "Live here if you want." The door was then closed and Duo Jun was left confused. But just as he was thinking about Han-ji's words, he was faced with a group of gangsters in front of him. Duo Jun was stunned by this scene. He learned that Han-ji had brought him here after the gangsters interrogated him. Then, Che Dehua brought him to a sleeping place. It was a laundry room less than 2 square meters in size. Before Duo Jun could react, Dehua spoke again. "If you want to stay here, you'll have to work." So the next day he took over all the household chores. Although the days were tired, there were no complaints, because there was not just no only bullying from school here, there was also free food and accommodation provided. But as soon as he stepped out, it was 100 times more dangerous than school. Within 3 steps, he could see a group of hooligans, so each time Duo Jun would deliberately avoid them. But that unique soft egg temperament was quickly noticed by others. The rogue man deliberately caused trouble, making Duo Jun bump his head before leaving. This made him truly understand what Han-ji's words really meant, surviving in this gathering of hooligans. At this time, the big man saw that Duo Jun was silent and was going to start fighting. If it was before, he might have held back his anger, but at this time he was no longer afraid, so he picked up his fist and was ready to fight back. But the big man's palm suddenly stopped in midair. It turned out that Dehua appeared in time. "What are you doing to my little brother?" Without waiting for an answer, he dragged Duo Jun and walked back, and the big man who was beaten was angry and grinding his teeth. At this time, the little brother around him kept persuading him. "They are members of the Han-ji family, so just let it go." But there is nothing more important than face when living life. The angry big man immediately pulled out a dagger. Roaring, he charged towards Dehua, only to see Dehua raise his hand and grab it. With a step, he pushed it. The 2-meter-tall man lost his balance instantly. Duo Jun was shocked at the scene by the terrifying combat power. It was someone with strength equal to Han-ji's older brother, and those several little brothers were scared and immediately ran away. But the big man who was so humiliated was still unwilling. He kept shouting that he wanted to get rid of the Han-ji family. At the same time, a strange voice entered his ears. "If you want to get rid of him, I can help you unconditionally." A few days later, Dehua and others have fallen asleep. Suddenly, a man wearing a beret appears outside the window. After confirming that everyone inside is fast asleep, he turns on the gas tank switch and inserts the pipe through the crack of the door. Just then, Duo Jun gets up to go to the bathroom. The strange gas quickly enters his mouth and nose, and the feeling of suffocation instantly wakes him up. He sees Dehua and others frothing at the mouth and realizes what has happened. He quickly rushes out to open the door and ventilate the room, but he bumps into the man outside, and the man runs away. Duo Jun quickly follows. He remembers what Dehua told him earlier, that killing this guy would prove himself. However, the man punches Duo Jun in the chin, revealing his identity and forcing him to escape the place or become the target of the organization. But the man suddenly stumbles and falls down the steps. Duo Jun grabs him, trying to get information about the organization. However, the man stabs him with a knife in the cheek. The man asks, "Do you think I'm running away because I'm afraid of you?" This reminds Duo Jun of the night when the school bully ran away. Being pointed at by someone with a knife is this kind of feeling. Immediately after that, the big man picked up the knife and swung it over. Duo Jun, who was unarmed, was quickly cornered into a pile of garbage. Tries to fend off the man with a foam board, but it's useless. The man lunges at him with a knife, but Duo Jun catches it with his bare hands. He transforms into a mad dog mode and throws the man against the railing. The sudden change stuns the man. Duo Jun grabs his arm and tries to throw him down like Dehua, but they are stuck in place. The man mocks Duo Jun with just your wrestling skills. "You think you can take me down? Let me give you a ride first." However, Duo Jun suddenly burst out laughing. "I'm not planning on letting you down." The man's pupils contracted as he felt uneasy. Then, Duo Jun suddenly exerted force with his feet. In the next second, both of them jumped over the railing.